Okay, I want to give my listeners a little bit of a background as to what you're about, because a lot of them probably have never heard of you. So I want to start from the beginning. You talk a lot in your shows about how you wanted to be Bon Jovi, which I've never ever seen the connection, to be honest with you. But Bon Jovi or whoever, what were some of your early musical influences?
Well, let me explain the Bon Jovi connection was this. I grew up on my dad's records, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Eagles, Jim Croce. I mean, 70s songwriter stuff. And that even as a kid, I go to sleep to Cat Stevens's Tea for the Tillerman album, which is a really melancholy album, and it explains a lot about the way I exist in the world when I look it back,
Absolutely.
But then my sister took me when I was probably 10 years old to see Whitesnake and Great White, and shortly thereafter to see Bon Jovi, when Bon Jovi was really firing on all pistons as the Brotherhood of Bon Jovi, the New Jersey album.
Sure.
And going to see, as a 10-year-old, the energy of that concert, the hand, outstretched hand, and
Right.
get through this together. It's what, I for many years never saw the connection between Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen, but that's the connection. It's this idea of the brotherhood of a band, marrying your high school sweetheart, which I happen to have also done. It's this sort of mythological ethos that really appealed to me, and it was all fueled by a desire to impress a girl. You felt with Bon Jovi, it was like, I gotta get the girl, I gotta make this happen. I related to all that so much. So even though my music never sounded that way, the idea of being a good guy, not a bad boy, because I knew I wasn't a bad boy pretty early on. It was like the idea of like being a good guy and chasing music and helping, triumphing over the blues. Like that's what I relate to about Bon Jovi. Musically, we're not really there. But that idea took hold at a young age. And so if you kind of take the music of my dad's records, couple it with that, then that was where the journey, and then I had all my phases: Bob Dylan phase, Grateful Dead phase, Bob Marley phase. It's kind of a Beatles phase, although I still think I might have a much deeper Beatles phase than I've ever had so far. Their songs are actually hard to play, and like that I've always gravitated towards music that was easy to play because I don't feel like I'm a very good musician most of the time.
I would argue that all I'd have to do is point to a song like Thanksgiving, with the time changes and the lyrical changes and all the things like that. I would argue your premise there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and that would be, some of why I write a song like that is to push myself to be a little more fearless, and not afraid to do complex things, which is also where I think, the music theory that's involved in, Beatles songs sound simple, but they're really not. They're complex melodies and interesting chord changes. So it's like each time you get into an artist, you kind of glean what they're doing, and then you move and you make it your own, and then you move to the next. So I've done that for many years.